Man United 2, Granada nil, 4-0 on aggregate. That's two semi-final, one quarter-final, one semi-final, 8 goals scored, 0 conceded. So that's a positive. Obviously, it's a massive positive, and it's great to be back at the semi-final stage again to obviously get past this semi-final hoodoo. We've got to do it, man. There can't be any excuses this time around. But onto the game. I predicted 2-0 and I predicted the type of performance where we wouldn't just blow them away, even though we went with a stronger team than I thought we would. You know what I mean? So let's touch on a few of the performances today. We've got to start at Pogba and Cavani and the relationship actually that they're starting to develop. I think it's actually important, and we're not actually talking about it enough, about the balance that it gives us and how it's I don't know if it's a coincidence that it's getting the best out of Cavani. You know, two very intelligent players, and they're linking up well. Pogba provided an assist for Cavani that obviously got chalked off against Spurs, but a different type of assist today. But again, he just knew where he was. You know, he didn't guess. He knows that Cavani's there, and a great header back and a great finish from Cavani. And we're seeing with him, if we give him chances and we bring him into the game, we will get a song out of him. You know, I've been one of his biggest critics this season in terms of the injuries, how it's gone in the last, couple of months. And then especially with him, either, he might stay, will he go, will he stay sort of thing. I was starting to wind it up a little bit. I was starting to wrap it up and say, you know what? I could see that when he plays and he's fit, he's okay, but he's not going to be fit and he doesn't want to stay here. Maybe we should just, start fizzling it out. But to be fair to Cavani, he's got himself back fit again. And since he's come back into the team, it's almost like where we were at the mid stage of the season where we could see how important he could be for us. And he's proven it. And in this run-in, in these big games, the semi-finals, to over 2 legs against Roma and hopefully if we get to the final as well, we get past this stage, finally get past this stage, he's going to be massive. And the two of them, Pogba and Cavani, they have to play in our big games. And you know what? Oli is starting to realise this, I think, and these guys are coming in to perform at the perfect time. But Oli's not going to play Pogba in central midfield. I can't see it. In the big games, like Rick was saying in his fan cam, I do agree. Beth touched on it as well. And a lot of you guys say it. He goes to McTominay and Fred. It will be McTominay and Fred in that semi-final. I can't see it being anything other than that. I'll be very surprised if it's not. Which means that the wide positions are the ones where you have to play Pogba and Rashford. But then what happens to Greenwood? So it's a good situation for Oli to be in. But for me, going into these, what you call the clutch games, big games, almost like NBA playoffs, when it's, certain players just kind of step up in that moment. In your big games, you need Paul Pogba on the pitch. And we're starting to see that. Massive game against Spurs, Pogba comes into the left-hand side. Massive game against Liverpool, he came onto the right-hand side. The big game against Arsenal earlier in the season, I know it didn't go well at that time, but he shoehorned him in on the right. He done the same thing against Spurs. This isn't anything new. In these big games, we have been seeing... I want to say Pogba played there against Chelsea as well. Or was he injured? I can't remember. But, there's no shortage of evidence. Comes on against AC Milan on the left, scores. So we are seeing him have a massive impact on the games. And going forward, I think Oli needs to keep playing him there, or on the right, but he's more comfortable from the left. But so is Marcus Rashford. So it's going to be a bit of a headache for Oli. But he has to, and I repeat, he has to have Cavani and Paul Pogba on the pitch in championship games. And when I say championship, I mean trophies, not the league, because they're big game players. They're experienced players. They're two of our best players. And more importantly, they're getting a little bit of a relationship going on. And I like it. And I do like it. I'm not in the camp of, drop Rashford to the bench. We don't need him anymore because Paul Pogba's there. We can't just X off Rashford's 20 goals this season and 20 goals last season from this very same position. Do you know what I mean? I do see him being more comfortable on the left. But if you have to play him on the right to make something happen, then you have to play him on the right. But I think we need Rashford, Pogba, and Cavani and Bruno all on the pitch if we want to get through to the next round. Don't get me wrong, Oli might surprise us and reinstate Pogba back into central midfield, but I just think the way he's playing out wide and the way he's got the work rate in central midfield, I can't see him doing that. So that was really good today. I thought those two were excellent, and especially with the link up. I mean, after that it was a bit a bit scatty, really, wasn't it? Not really much in the game. It was a very professional performance. We managed it well. At the back, let's go to the back. I thought Wan-Bissaka was class. KG would be happy to hear. I think he messaged me another thing saying, "Did you see this? Did you see that?" I did see in the 42nd minute when he tried a crossfield pass. I'm only joking. I'm not going to try and get onto him because he was superb. He was superb again. And look, he's being so consistent this year. He is. I do have a little bit of tongue in cheek with KG, but I know that Wan-Bissaka is on an upwards trajectory. I don't need to talk about his weaknesses right now because he's playing really well and he's given us a great outlet on that right hand side. He was solid today, and good to see Tuanzebe get a game as well. I thought he was a couple of little silly challenges, but other than that, I thought he was solid, very commanding, was good in the tackle, read the game really well, and played really, was very composed alongside Victor Lindelof. Snuffed out the danger when it needed sniffing out as well. So he did well. Alex Telles done okay, quiet. It was a typical Man United see it out game. I think one of my criticisms I would say is I just don't understand how Diallo doesn't get more game time. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would you not? Like, we know about Dan James already. Like, we know what he has to offer. We know where he's at in his United development, and we know what he can bring to the team. And I just think we're 3-0 up. Just bring Diallo on. I mean, is Ollie doing that because Dan James has just come back from injury and probably needs to get some minutes in his leg? Maybe there's probably a little bit of that. Again, he brings Mata on as well over Diallo, which, look, I think it's good to see Mata, to be fair. I think with what he's been through over the last couple of months, and especially the last month or so, obviously losing his mother, I think that would be good for the squad and good for Juan Mata to play today. So I don't really have any problems with that. But it's just not nice to see Diallo not playing. I don't get it. I don't in a game like this, 3-0 up, comfortable, cruising at home, I would have got him on a lot earlier. It was good to see Pogba come off at halftime. Actually, I will touch on that. I still don't know whether he's out of the first leg of the semi-final or not. I'm sure we would have heard a lot more about it. I was under the impression that he would be if he got another yellow card, but as it stands, I haven't seen anything that would suggest he was. But that was, we had to avoid that PSG-esque thing happening, like what we did with Fred. Get him off. We're cruising 3-0 up on aggregate. Just make it happen. Get him off the pitch. Matic played well today. I thought he was good. Fred not so good at times, but other times you get that with Fred, innit? I mean, I know a lot of people get onto Fred, but there's something about Fred that I really like. It's his tenacity, it's his work rate, it's his willingness to be honest. And when I say honest, I mean just no agendas, just graft. And I know that's not enough. I know we do need better. I'm just saying that's why I do like him. But I'm not blinded by seeing his flaws. He's just not good enough on the ball, bless him. He's not. He tried a mad shot. The Tottenham thing's gone to his head a lot. He tried a mad shot edge of the box today as well. But he's not good enough on the ball. His passing needs to massively improve. I don't think it will improve. I think he's not going to improve in that aspect. And when you play alongside Matic, obviously there is limitations there. But I thought Matic actually passed forward very well today. Passed between the lines very well. And found space. That ball he put over to Bruno for that volley would have been a crazy goal. Rolling back the years with that one, but it wasn't to be. But I want to talk about the mentality of this squad now and what sort of position we're in going into this semi-final, because there's nothing to celebrate yet. We're in a semi-final. We're in a semi-final. We've been here before. This is the sixth time. 2 in the Carabao Cup semi-finals. City lost both. 1 semi-final FA Cup. Chelsea lost, and then 2, and then it will be 2 of Europa League. So this will be the 6th semi-final. I do think the team has moved on since those semi-finals. I really do. I know we had one already this year and lost it, and the quarterfinal. But I think there is a mentality shift. But this will be the biggest test. This will be the biggest bit of proof that the mentality has shifted. And if we go and lose over 2 legs against Roma, it's going to be a catastrophe. It really will. And I just think we need to get over that line. We really need to get over that line and into the final to give ourselves a chance of actually winning something. And even so, if we do win it, of course, it's the second tier of European football. But for this squad at this moment under this manager, it'll be massive. I'm not going to say it would almost feel like a Champions League. Of course it wouldn't. But you get what I'm saying? It'll be so big for these players to get over that line and break that mental block. I think that could be the difference between us kicking on next season and maybe staying a little bit stagnant. If we can get over the line in Europa League and win the thing, I think it just breeds that next level of winning mentality to go into next season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Ollie gets backed even better because he's produced a season of second plus a trophy, which would be the perfect way to top off or to validate the fact that we are making progress. I think you can't argue with it if we go and win that. It's a great way to shut everyone up, really, because there's so many debates to be had, and valid debates about the style of play, about conceding silly goals, about having to go down, conceding games first and then come back, about there being no fans, about Liverpool having injuries and everyone's going to be better next year. There's so many talking points to be had as to why Man United haven't made progress. But one thing I do know is if we get our shit together and win that Europa League, you can't talk to Ollie. You actually can't talk to him. I know a lot of people still will because they'll still feel right. But even to a lot of people who don't think Ollie's the right man for at this stage, even they say if he wins Europa League and finishes second, with that squad as well, where we know what we need to improve, you can't say fairer than that. You can't talk to him, and I'd love for Ollie to be in that position. I think it would really show that he does deserve the contract extension. I know in ways he deserves it anyway. But there's big question marks, like I always say, about the style of play or lack of and things like that. But you still can't deny that, if you finish third, then you go and finish second. It's progression. It's not good if you go out of all the cup competitions with a whimper. So this is the perfect way to, like I say, to show a bit of validation for the progress, to put a stamp on the progress. Who can really say anything about Ollie if he finishes second and wins the Europa League? I think if you do that, I think you're just being stubborn. I really do. Because for me, if he does that, you have to put the reasons why you don't want him there or the reasons why you don't think he's good enough to the side a little bit. You have to, because you don't do that by accident. You don't win the Europa League. Well, you could say it was by accident because we should have been in the Champions League, but you know what I mean. You don't win the Europa League by accident, and you don't finish second in the league by accident or luck. You do it because you've had a decent season. And I say decent because, like we always say, we can't get at like that's the level we want to be at. But for the progress and the kind of the way that we're going about our business in each stage, for the stage we're at, that's probably where we are. Do you know what I mean? We wasn't equipped to win the Champions League this year. Would we have been more satisfied if we got to the semi-final now and then lost in the Champions League? Then we'd say it was a good season because, he got to the semis, but then we played Real Madrid and then we lost. It's okay, we're not as good as Real Madrid. All right, and we still didn't win anything. Do you know what I mean? It's much of a muchness. I think a lot of people, if we would have got through the group stage in that group of death with PSG and Leipzig, and then went out in the round of 16 because we faced someone difficult. Let's say we faced, I don't know, say it was Bayern straight away and went out, then people would still say, okay, yeah, fair enough. So we weren't really realistically ever going to win the Champions League, which, we probably might not win it next year. But it's about competing. So I do get that. But I think if we, like I said, back to the Europa League, to win it would be massive. And I think the mentality is improving. So for me, not celebrating yet. Now I'm starting to get a bit nervous. I'm starting to get a bit nervous because I'll tell you why. Because I look at the Roma game over 2 legs, and I'm like, we should be all right. We should have enough. But then you remember the mentality of this team. You remember us 5 times previous at this stage, or 5 times previous at this stage, and fluffing it up. It's big. And like I said at the top of this video, I think it's going to come down to the team selection. He's got to get Cavani, Pogba, Bruno, and Rashford, in my opinion, on that pitch at the same time. And how does he do that? That's up to Ollie. Me personally, I would someone's got to play on the right who doesn't really want to play there. Would I be willing to play Mason Greenwood there because he's a little bit more comfortable on the right and drop Marcus Rashford or Paul Pogba? Me personally, no. I would go for it. I would say, Marcus, you got to do me a job, bro. You got to do me a job. Or failing that, you got to say, Pogba, do me a job from the right-hand side. But Pogba clearly likes coming off that left-hand side, as does Marcus. So that's for Ollie to sort out. That's why he gets the big bucks. But for me, I just know them guys just both need to be on the pitch. Unless Ollie wants to be really brave, which if you think about it, shouldn't really be that much of a big decision. But it is in terms of, because Ollie never does it. But if he just puts Paul Pogba back in central midfield and says, yo, Pogba, go affect the game for me, I'll give you a McTominay next year who's going to run around and give me that energy, or a Fred, and fits it in that way, which is a better balance for the team. That could happen, but I just think in every single big game, it's always McTominay and Fred. It's very rarely, but I don't think it's ever Pogba and one other this season. It just hasn't been that. Do you know what I mean? But it is obviously very often Marcus on the left in these big games, in most games. So it's whether Ollie wants to upset that balance and then leave Mason out at this stage, where Mason's kind of growing in confidence from the right-hand side, because Cavani's got to play. We know that. Martial won't be fit anyway, but even if he was getting fit, I'm still saying Cavani must play. He's getting in a good moment, so roll on to that. So I think our mentality is improving. I'm going to put my neck on the line. I think we'll get past Roma. And the prospect of facing Arsenal is actually, I'm not going to say daunting, but that would fill me with a lot of nerves, because, they've got a big job to get past Villarreal for sure. But if we had to play them in a one-off game, I don't know. There's something about Arsenal that we just haven't beaten them for a little while, and I could see us just cocking it up, and that would be unlivable. It'd be unlivable even to get to the final, lose if it was against Villarreal, of course. But the Arsenal thing that worries me. But you know what? I'm not even trying to think that far ahead, because I don't know what's going to happen in their game, and we haven't even got past the semi-final stage yet. That's the last time I'm actually going to think about the prospect of the final. I'm going to just cast it out of my mind, because we can see what's been going on. We don't get past this stage. We need to do it. 2 legs though. Hopefully that helps. My man of the match today probably was Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka followed by Matic. You could give it to Cavani or Pogba for their roles in the goal, but they weren't. They was on for a half and a little bit longer, respectively. But I'll give it Wan-Bissaka, solid. And KG would love to hear that as well. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you. When will I see you guys? On Sunday.